On this episode of Signature Show-Offs, we're featuring Mark's 72 Malibu. So this is Mark. Mark's a good friend of mine. He's had some pretty crazy cars in the past, and this is his latest edition, and it's quite impressive. So yeah, it's a street-driven car that he's brought over from the States. He's done a few things to it, but tell us about it, man. How did you end up with it? Where did you find it? Stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, so I sold I had a 71 Chevy Nova, which was running 8s. It was just a bit too quick for the street and just too many mods, and so I sold that and thought I wanted to get another street car. Started looking on Racing Junk and just online everywhere, really.
So Racing Junk's like an American site, or it's?
Yeah, it's an American site, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a massive site, like it's huge.
Yeah.
All racing parts and cars and stuff like that. It was like a really bad, poor photo, like taken from like 100 meters away with a potato. Had a good write up about like stuff that was done to the car, so I was like, I'll try and get in contact with this bloke and see what we can do, and got into one of my good mates who's done this a million times, and he sort of took the reins from there, and it turned up and it was a lot better than what we thought it would be, so yeah, pretty stoked with what turned up, really.
So just talk us through the process of getting, you know, a car from the States over here. Like, is it really that hard, or is it quite straightforward as far as getting them registered, left-hand drive and stuff like that? Is it?
It's not that hard if you know someone over there already that can go and eyeball it for you. It takes a lot of the gambling away out of it, and also then getting it to the docks.
Yeah. Okay.
This was in Indianapolis, so it was a long way to go, but yeah, we've got a bloke to put in an enclosed trailer and take it to the docks and then send it over. And we went through PLA for importing. So yeah, once it got here, it was, because it's got a big motor in it, but they came out with a 454 anyway. It's a 540 now, so it was no dramas getting it registered.
And left-hand drive, you don't have to do anything silly as far as registering it? But
No.
Okay, cool. So it's not that hard then?
No, it's not that hard, no.
Okay, cool. So it's a 72 Malibu?
Yeah, so it's a Malibu. So it's a Chevelle Malibu is 350.
Yeah.
It's got SS badges front and back on it that I've put on there, but I was going to do the guards as well, make it into a SS clone.
So what's the difference with the guards?
Just different badges and holes in different spots.
Okay.
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah, an SS car is basically 454. It's a Malibu, but with a bigger motor with a 454, so that makes it the SS.
Yeah. Okay.
There's not a lot of differences other than that.
Okay, cool. And I like these tops. So what do you call this? It's not a soft top, but vinyl roof?
Yeah, it's just a vinyl roof, yeah. It's been redone.
So paint-wise, is it a factory colour?
Yeah, it's a factory colour. It's just been resprayed and looks a lot better because it's, you know, got clear and stuff over it.
Yeah, we spoke about this before, but just the way that modern paints have sort of evolved, you know, they're pretty much two different colours now off the same paint code, but obviously paints have got better, so it is quite a nice colour. And what about the chrome and stuff? Has that all been redone? Or?
Yeah, it's all been redone. Yeah.
And wheels wise, what are you running?
Okay, so it's got World V series on the rear, 15 by 10s, and then a mate of mine is connected to Enemies Everywhere up Toowoomba. Okay. So they bead-locked them for me.
Right.
The fronts are World Full Throttle, 18 by 4.5. They're actually 17, not 18, the fronts.
Okay.
Yeah, I said they're 18s, but they're...
Diff-wise and rear end, what are you running
It's got a Ford 9-inch in it. Mosier axles, there's 411 diff gears. So like I said, it's set up for 1/8.
Yep.
Sort of runs out of legs. Quarter mile probably run out, it'd be sort of unlimited before it got across the line. But
so like 4-link or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, standard comes out 4-link.
Okay, cool. And standard brakes on the rear?
They're an actual drum, but I don't know.
Oh, so they're a 9-inch, Ford 9-inch drum.
Yeah, they're not the one that come off of it. It's got wheelwood brakes front.
Yep.
Wheelwood master cylinder.
So suspension wise, what's it? I don't really know drag racing too much, so how do you sort of set up a good
So it's
drag
probably
car?
completely opposite to what you're used to.
Yep.
It's like riding around a lounge chair. You go on it and the driver's side picks up and tries to lift the wheel off the ground. It's set up with It's got a QA1 adjustable shocks with Moroso springs.
Okay.
And it's just set up for squatting the back end down and planting it and just taking off. So
yeah,
it does wheelies at the drags and that, and plants the tyre pretty well. Even on the street, it tries to pick the front wheel off the ground. So
now you were telling me something cool with an airbag sort of setup.
yeah, so it's got like a really old school American drag racing setup in the back with an airbag on the opposite side. So when it torques over, you can put air in it. There's an actual little valve at the back, so you can go to the servo and put air in there and just lift that side up. I don't do it, I just let it twist up and it looks cool.
That's cool. So obviously the idea behind that is to get the car sitting straight when it launches instead of it squatting on one side.
Yeah, and sort of like steering across.
Yeah.
It does sort of try and fight you as you come across, but yeah.
They got torque jacking, I think it's called.
Yeah.
In drift world it's called torque jacking. And gearbox wise, what do you...
Cohen Turbo 400.
So is that like a factory box out of something else?
Nah,
or?
It might be a factory casing, but it's a Cohen gearbox. They're an expensive box.
So it's like an aftermarket sort of purpose-built thing. Okay.
I don't know much about autos, but it's got a $3.5 grand stall, which is plenty for this. Like it makes power just being off the mark, being a big motor. So no trans brake, just being foot braking. But yeah, just even foot braking still does a wheelie at the drag, so I don't really need a trans brake.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's everybody's dream to have a car that wheel stands, especially on the street. Like that'd be cool. That'd be real cool. All right, so fuel system wise, what are you running here?
Yeah, so it's got it's just a 50, I think it's 50 litre fuel cell.
Yeah.
It had an old Holly on it when I got it, and it was like a deadhead system, so it went to the carby, and it was boiling fuel all the time. It'd run great for like 15 minutes, and you'd start coughing and spluttering, and you'd break. I broke down a few times on the way home from work. I drive this to work every so often, and yeah, so I went with a Holly 150, a HB 150, which is, I think it flows 150 gallons or something a minute, whatever that works out to be, and yeah, it's good for 900 to 1,000 horsepower.
And is it
anyway.
a return system now? Or
Yeah, so return system now.
So your fuel's staying cool?
Yeah, hasn't missed a beat since I put it in there. It's probably the best thing I've done so far.
Yeah, cool. And you still run just pump fuel?
Yeah, pump 98, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, probably run on like 95 or something like that, fine too, but
yeah. Okay.
Run 98.
Right. Sweet, let's check out the interior. Wait, wrong side. So obviously a pretty tidy interior, and you're saying you can still buy stuff new, which is
so all this stuff
cool.
would have been replaced. New back seat, new door cards, front and rear, dash, all the gauges.
So what is aftermarket in here? Obviously the seats. Is that a factory steering wheel? Or?
No, it's not a factory steering wheel. It's actually not my pick of a steering wheel, but I like the genuine SS ones. It's a little bit, I don't know, cleaner looking steering wheel, but for now it'll do me.
Yeah, okay.
It's just got a pro ratchet shifter in it. The seats are aftermarket.
So what's the go with a pro ratchet shifter? How does that work, and what's the advantage over a standard sort of thing?
Oh, it's just a rip shift, so neutral first, second, third.
Is it because the auto box has been like manualised? Is that?
Yeah, it's full manualised, so it won't change gears unless you actually put it into gear.
Yeah, okay.
In Australia, we made like 100th of the cars, like old cars that they make over there. So we don't have the market now for like making that stuff, but it's all redone over there.
All right, so donk wise, this thing is huge. Being a rotary guy, that looks massive. What is it? And
yeah, so it's a big block Chev, 540 cubes, about 9 litres.
So is that an engine that would come out of another car, or?
Well, it was built for a boat, as I said, but it's a bow tie block, Ray Morrison head, CNC machine ported, Dart manifold. Yeah,
because the heads they're huge, aren't
they?
Yeah.
They're a Brodix big Brody head. They're quite a big head.
So what's the advantage to them being so big? I don't really know. So how does?
Oh, it's a big motor, so you just need big heads. You need to get all that air out. So it goes into the Lemons headers with, I think they're 2¼ inch outlets.
Which is big on its own as well.
Yeah, they're massive.
They're huge.
It's got twin 4-inch pipes on it, which I put on myself.
Yeah, right.
4 mufflers to try and quieten it down a bit.
Yep.
But like it's built, it would handle a bit of spray. So probably a 300 shot of nitrous or something like that would be sweet. You get up there then, probably run a 9 or something like that.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, one thing I noticed is that plywood gasket or something going
Oh,
on there?
it's actually a ply spacer, so it stops the heat transferring from your motor up into your carb and boiling the fuel. It's not dodgy. I paid money for that. Like, yeah.
So because it's timber, it doesn't transfer the heat from the inlet.
Yeah. So most of the spacers you see are aluminium. They'll actually aluminium's conductive, so the heat goes through into your carb and balls in your bowls.
Okay.
Like before I did change the deadhead system from the fuel pump up to the front and returned, I tried that first, thinking that maybe that would stop it from boiling. But,
yeah. Okay.
it can only help. I can't go too high with the spacer anyway, because that just fits underneath that cowl there. So
okay.
Don't want to go too ridiculous with a bigger cowl again. But
it's just interesting. I've never seen anything like that.
This is all different than what you sort of normally deal with. So
no, it's cool.
It's all dinosaur technology, pushrod V8. So
it still works though.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the go with this? This is
it's just electric water pump.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Just less belts to run off of everything and a bit more power. And was throwing belts originally off the alternator every single time I got up to, gave it a stab.
Yeah. Okay.
And throw a belt at the drag strip. You'd roll around and someone would bring it back to you. But fixed that up and made some better brackets to hold the alternator square. And
Okay. And coil wise, how does that work on something like this?
So it's got an MSD coil. It's actually up inside of the. It runs into the Dizzy.
Yep.
MSD Dizzy.
Okay. So being naturally
Plenty of spark.
aspirated, it's all about big spark.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's not a high compression motor, so it's not too bad with this thing. But once you start feeding it some boost or spray.
So this motor's really set up for a boosted application.
Yeah. It's 10.5 so it's still alright on the road, but it'd be a lot happier with a bit of spray or some boost.
Yeah. Okay. And what carb are you running?
It's a Holy Dominator 1050. It's enough for what it's making. It'd be making around 800 or something like that flywheel. So.
And that's pretty big numbers, isn't it? 800 horsepower. It's not nothing small. So that's pretty cool. Got a little LED, mate. It's a bit flash.
Oh, that's just for when I'm at the track, because there's nearly always something you have to do on it, on the motor. So I just flick the switch over here and turn it on, and it all lights up, and you can see what you're doing, change plugs or whatever.
I like that idea. That's good. So the bonnet, is that a factory item or?
No, it's just a double. It's a skinned hood, so
mainly to get yourself the clearance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the only thing on it. They actually come out with a cowl, but much smaller than this.
Yep.
On the steel bonnet.
Okay.
That's the only thing that's fiberglass on it, is the hood. Everything else is all still steel. It's a heavy car. Like I think it's around 1,750 kilos, something like that. Well, that's not real heavy, I guess, compared to new Falcons and Commodores.
No. But they don't have the safety stuff like they do now, and the sound deadening and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just all steel. But
So do you have any like future plans with the car?
Like I said earlier, probably further down the track, I'd like to actually go faster and put a cage and harnesses and stuff like that in it, and probably, I don't know, depending on how I go. Twin turbos would be good, but a bit of spray would be the easiest thing to do. But
yeah. All right, so unlimited budget, what does this car look like?
Pardon?
Unlimited budget, what does this car look like?
Unlimited budget. If I want to keep it so I can street it, it'd be turboed.
Yeah, okay.
Twin turbo. Make a massive horsepower, and not much different than how it looks really. Probably, it looks really tidy, but there's a few marks here and there, so it would just be,
Oh, it's just a good example of a nice street car, really. You actually drive it.
It gets driven, so it's got stone chips here and there and little bubble rust here and there. So all things that when I've got some money, I'll actually go ahead and strip it all back.
No, because you're quite handy. So if say you come into turbocharging, that's something you do yourself.
Yeah, I'd definitely be doing it all myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do for a job?
Mechanical fitter by trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the part where you decide, are you going to back it into the shed and do a skid for us, or eat the world's hottest beef jerky? What's it going to be?
I think I'd definitely be doing a skid.
All right, well, let's see it. So the rules of the skid is you got 30 seconds to impress us.
30 seconds, that's going to be a lot of smoke.
Yeah, well, if you don't impress us in that 30 seconds, you got to eat the beef jerky.
Too easy.
Game on. So I think it's safe to say that Mark won't be eating the beef jerky today. Thank you very much for coming, mate. We really appreciate it. Awesome car, and catch us on the next one. If you like what you saw, leave us a comment. If you don't like what you saw, leave us a comment. We want to know because we're doing it for you guys. But it's safe to say that the building copped a bit of smoke.